I'm Melissa, and this is The Book Break. And today we are talking to an agent who's also an author. We're going to get some great tips. Lucienne, did I say it right?
Yes.
All right. So tell us a little bit more, because first of all, you are with Knight Agency,
Yes.
right? Okay, so let's talk about a couple do's and don'ts, some tips for authors.
Okay, well, definitely the first thing you should do is do your research. Know what agents you want to target, what agents do the sort of thing you do, have credited sales in your field. One of the best ways to do that is to go on things like Publishers Marketplace. It does cost, but for the period of time that you're querying, it's well worth the cost. You can see who's selling what to whom. You can look at top deal makers in your field. You can look at the acknowledgments for authors that write the sort of thing that you write, whose audience you think that would be similar to your readers, the readers that you're trying to get. You can look at writers' organizations for the field that you write in, and for science fiction and fantasy, it'd be Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America, or Horror Writers of America, International Thriller Writers. Anything like that will usually have a list of agents with verifiable sales in your area, and those would be the kind of agents that you would want to target.
Yeah.
So definitely do your research. Also, I would highly recommend looking at SFWA's Writer Beware site.
Mm-hmm.
That tells you red flags, things to look for in terms of warning signs. One of the big things is money should always flow to the writer.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yes, so you definitely want to do that. And then also really follow the guidelines. Once you have that list of agents to target, you then want to follow their guidelines. And don't try and skirt the guidelines, because that really says that you think that you are more special than everybody else, that you're not willing to do the work and follow the rules that will get you there, that you want to take shortcuts, and that is not really going to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, when you see somebody submitting to you or querying about you potentially being their agent, and you see them not following your guidelines, do you even look at their stuff?
No, frequently we don't. We don't even answer. If you are not willing to do what we say you need to do, then we don't feel that we need to respond to that.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, that people, I know when I've been an editor on an anthology and people didn't follow the guidelines, I got to a point where if they didn't follow the guidelines, I'm not even reading their story, because you can't read the guidelines and follow instructions. So as an editor, I want someone that's going to follow instructions.
Right. Well, and if somebody, for instance, we go through Query Manager, you can submit to us through Query Manager. If somebody just sends me an email, say with an attachment or something like that, we're not going to open that. It's from a source that we don't know.
Yeah.
Even if you send me something in the body of an email, it might go to my spam filter. It might, that's just not the way that we deal with submissions.
Yeah.
And it's just a nightmare trying to track everything that way, which is why we have Query Manager.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to skirt things, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah, definitely. And I love that you mentioned Publishers Market too, because one of the things when I've worked with authors that I've loved is they're wondering what kind of deal they're going to get. And it's, well, everyone's different, but if you want to know what's common right now, you can go and look on the guidelines of the deals, and you don't get the details, but you know whether it was a small deal or a medium deal, and they define that for you there too.
Yes, although more and more publishers are not allowing you to say even what range the deals are.
That's good to know.
Yes, more and more that's happening.
Yeah, so good to know. Make sure you follow the guidelines when you do get accepted.
Yes.
So tell me, for those that are just have no idea what an agent does, so like one of the things you mentioned is you as the author are not paying your agent to be your agent.
Right.
That's important. So then how does an agent get paid?
Okay, so it is shared risk for shared reward. We don't get paid unless you get paid. So it is in our best interest to sell your work, and to hustle for you. So we get a commission, which means we only get a percentage of what you make. So an agent's commission is 15% on domestic, and then on foreign, it's usually 20 or 25 depending on, but it's not our 20 or 25, it's split with the sub-agent. So and usually it's like 20% and it's 10% to us, 10% to the sub-agent. The only time it's more is if it's like usually a small, a country where the percentage is small and where the agent might take a larger percent, and then it's not us getting the larger cut, it's that agent in the other country getting the larger percent because it's not financially rewarding for them otherwise because of the small advances. So something like that, but that's something that you would know in advance when you enter into the arrangement with the agent. They will tell you what the percentages are, and that's something also that the SFWA Author Beware site will tell you is what is standard, what you should expect, what to look for, and what to watch out for. So again, that is really the best resource for anybody out there who doesn't know what to expect to look for.
So for those authors that are newer to the field, you're saying SFWA Authors Beware. Can you tell us a little bit more? What does that stand for, and what is that?
Okay, so SFWA is the Science Fiction and Fantasy Writers of America, and I think it's SFWA.org, and I think if you just go to SFWA.org and then click the Author Beware, link. But also I think if you just type in SFWA, Authors Beware into Google or whatever search engine you use, it'll bring you there. It's really well known, and Victoria Strauss, who runs it, does an amazing job, and really couldn't more highly recommend it. It doesn't matter what genre you write in, these are great guidelines to follow.
That's great. And I think one of the other things that you mentioned is super important, where if they're a sci-fi writer, get involved in that community. What are you looking for when you receive a submission and when you're trying to determine if you want to represent an author? What are some things that you're specifically looking for?
I'm really especially looking right now, so I represent like 47 authors. I have a big list, so I am really pretty much to the max right now. So if I'm looking to take anything on, it's got to be something I think is really special, is really break out and stand out. I'm especially looking for diversity, voices that I don't think we've heard or not heard enough from. Somebody who I think really brings something special and new to the table. Or just a perspective, like something that turns something on its head. My understanding of something, or even if it's a trope, it's just coming at it from such a fresh way, or maybe it's a mythology I haven't seen before or haven't heard enough from. Or so I was an anthropology major as well as a writing major in college, and I am fascinated by folklore and folk tales, but also forensics. And I mean, there's just so many things that fascinate me. And if you, tickle that part of my fancy, I can't help myself. I mean, I already have ended up taking on 2 new writers at a time when I thought I just couldn't possibly take on anybody else because they just blew me away. And I don't think I'm ever going to be entirely full because I just have never lost that sense of wonder and amazement and enthusiasm for my job and books and what I do.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. And so I want to make sure in the last couple of minutes that we mentioned you are an author.
Yes.
Can you give us a little synopsis about what you write and where we can find it?
Sure. So I kind of write books of murder, myth, and mayhem.
Nice.
So I write for young adults, the Vamp series, and for adults, I write Bad Blood. The Latter-day Olympian series, which starts with Bad Blood, which has been described as Rick Riordan meets Janet Ivanovich, which I love that description.
I love that.
But I also write suspense for young adults, standalone suspense for young adults. So I like anything that is suspenseful, or involves mythology. It can be tongue in cheek. I like banter. I like snark. I like snark and suspense. That's what I kind of like, and that's kind of my brand. So that's what I do, and it can be found, anywhere online, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Kobo, I mean, pretty much anywhere. Right now, you're not going to walk into the bookstores, unfortunately, and find you've got to order them online because they're in with their second presses now.
Yeah.
They've reverted from their original presses and they're with smaller presses now. But my agent's got something brand new out. It's epic fantasy. And it is probably the most important thing. No, it is hands down the most important thing to me that I've ever written. And
where can we learn more information about it?
On my website, so luciennediver.com. Oh, well, that one you can't find anything about yet.
Okay.
Secret, but
But
everything
we
else.
can watch your website, because when it's not secret, we'll see.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
And are you on social media as well?
Yes. So Twitter, just Lucienne Diver. Same with Facebook. You can pretty much find me all over.
And what about your agency?
So the agency is Knight with a K, knightagency.net.
Great. Well, thank you so much for being here with us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you bet. And thank you to our viewers. We'll see you next time.